Alright everybody, in today's video we're going to take leftover harvest from the backyard and turn it into a sweet, tasty treat that is healthy and your kids will love, and additionally it reduces waste. Some of these burgundy plums from my tree were pecked by birds or had blemish spots on them, things that you would typically let just fall and not eat, but I began harvesting them last year and I did the same thing this year and just cut off the bad spots and freeze them, as well as these end of the season blueberries that were left on the bush. The hotter sun shrivels them up, makes them not the best for fresh eating, but they work great for what we're going to do with them today. These are some neighboring grapes that grow over the fence. There was a few clusters left and an old green apple that will work just fine in our everybody in the pot fruit leather that we're going to make today. Let's get started. Simply take all of this fruit, I put into a pot and stew it down a little bit, and then when we're done with that I'll blend it up in the same pot, and then we've got our puree to put into the dehydrator and we'll start dehydrating. Alright, our blueberries and plums are in there. Now we'll just add our grapes and the apple and we'll let that cook down, and we'll be back as soon as we're ready to blend. I think one of the benefits to using this method is you cook off a lot of the water now, and that just makes dehydrating easier. Okay, we've got our little mixture here is stewed down a little bit. Now I'm going to take this hand blender and we'll just blend it up. We've stewed it down and blended it up with a hand blender, and this is what we're left with. This is just a nice smooth puree, and look at that rich color. This is just fruit with a little bit of added sugar. You can sugar this up to your taste or not put in any at all. It's strictly up to you, whatever you want to do with it. Additionally, you can see how this has some thickness to it now, and that's going to dehydrate up a little bit quicker than just having a watery blended up mixture of fruit. The reason I put the apple in there is because it's high in pectin, and that helps get us to this consistency as well. You could use applesauce if that's all you had around. I just wanted to highlight this simple Presto dehydrator. We bought this 3 or 4 years ago, and we run this thing like a dog just about every summer. It's still running strong. We have no problems with it. This is a very lower end entry level model, and so to get into dehydrating doesn't mean you have to spend a lot of money. To make fruit leather, we need to buy, or you need to have these little plastic inserts that go into the dehydrating trays, otherwise obviously it just runs straight down. So now we're going to take our mixture and we're simply going to start loading up our discs here with our little fruit soup. I don't want to put this too thick in here, but I've also found that by spreading it out too thin makes kind of a hard, crunchy end product. I like these to be dry but have some resiliency and chew left in them when we're done. So I load them up in there a little bit on the thick side, and after the water is dehydrated out of these things, that will reduce down quite a bit. We've got the ability with this machine to stack up quite a few of these little modules on there, and that makes running the machine for 5 to 8 hours worth it, so we end up with, you know, a good amount of end product when we're done. Alright, we're all stacked up here and ready to go. Put the lid on, we'll plug it in and just let it run. Now it's just a matter of letting the machine do the work. A couple of other ways that you can make fruit leather is obviously the old pioneer way, where you could spread this out on a cooking sheet with a non-stick type pad in it, or wax paper would probably work just fine. And I'm told that you can place this on a hot roof and cover it with some cheesecloth and it would work that way. I've never done it that way, but in a grid down situation that may be the only option that we have. Also, you can do what I'm going to do with this right on cue. I was going to say that I'm going to put this in the oven on the lowest setting Some people have told me that they like to leave the oven door cracked open a little bit. I don't do that, and it's always worked out just fine for me. I used to make fruit leather this way before we bought the dehydrator, so I'm very familiar with this. I like to put it on here a little thicker than 1/8 of an inch, maybe not quite as thick as 1/4 of an inch, and we'll just kind of spread this out a little bit. And then we'll put it in the oven. And this is one of those things that will go as long as it needs to. I would say you're going to be at it for a minimum of 5 hours. Okay, our dehydrator is done. Our oven dehydrated fruit leather is done. Let's take a look at our end product here. See what we got. Many of you remember the old fruit roll-ups that we all used to eat. The thing about these is they're much healthier. Doesn't that look good? Look at that dark color. It's sweet, delicious, chewy, fresh fruit. The oven method comes out just as good. There's nothing wrong with this at all. Like I said, we bought the dehydrator because I'm able to do multiple trays at a time, but if you don't have anything else, this works just fine. Cut that in half. If you want, you can cut little rings up to kind of portion out the servings of this stuff, because believe me, once your kids taste this or other members of your household, it will go fast. And now I'm on to nectarine fruit leather made from all the leftover nectarines we had from our backyard tree. What I like to do when I make batches of fruit leather is to package some of it up in these food saver bags and place them in the freezer. These things taste real good in the middle of winter when fresh fruits and vegetables aren't available. Hey, if you like the content that we provided for you in today's video, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button down below. That helps us out with the channel. And as always, remember, get ready so that you and your family can succeed and thrive. I think we've invented flubber.